Welcome, everyone, to the Better Love Movement podcast, where you will finally learn how to intentionally do dating and relationships right. My name is Anita Stoudemire, and I'm a licensed professional therapist and your personal love mentor. I've worked with thousands of singles and couples, giving them the skills needed to attract and keep the amazing love they desire. It's my heart's work to help people to get the skills needed to not only become the very best versions of themselves, but to help them grow and evolve emotionally and relationally. You can absolutely have the romantic relationship of your dreams. Come and let me show you how. Hey everybody, it's Anita with Better Love Movement, and we are now in episode 47. It is entitled 5 Qualities That Women Don't Want in a Man. So if you have been following me for a while, you will know that the feminine energy woman gets what she wants by knowing what she doesn't want. Okay, so I encourage all of my feminine energy ladies to make a list of all the things they don't want in a man, in a relationship. And for some of us, that's going to be really easy to do. All we have to do is think back to some of the relationships we've been in and the things we received in those relationships that we did not want. So this is kind of easy. Sometimes people struggle with figuring out what they do want. And when I work with ladies, I'm coaching ladies or I'm in therapy with ladies and they struggle with knowing what they want. They'll list like 3 or 4 things. And then after that, they start struggling. And so when I give them this assignment where I say, tell me what you don't want and think back to the last 2 or 3 relationships that you've had and tell me what you don't want in a relationship. And then rapid fire answers. They start remembering all the things about those relationships they did not like, they did not want, that didn't make them feel good. And it becomes easier for them to think about things they don't want. So that's why we're focusing here today, the 5 qualities that women don't want in a man. And here's the secret to this type of thinking or this type of list making. When you sit down and you make a list of the things you don't want in a man or don't want in a relationship, and you keep that with you or you keep that in the back of your mind, when you experience that out here dating, when you experience that on a date or you experience that live and in person, it's going to send up the flag faster, right? You're going to go, oh, this is on my list of what I don't want. No, don't engage. That's what it's telling you. Don't even engage this person any further. There are 2 or 3 things here that I don't want. So there's no point in going forward. There's no point in continuing to engage this person because they have things on this list that I said I didn't want. So I'm hoping that this will make it easier so that, to me, the point and purpose of this is don't engage. Too many of us, we have this list of what we want, and the reason why we continue to engage a person is because we're looking for those things, right? And sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 dates, and we're in it. We're in it. We've engaged with this person. They've had like 1 or 2 qualities that we thought were cool. We're going to talk about that in another episode called the halo effect. But the truth be told, we've fallen deep into this rabbit hole looking for what we want as opposed to we're going to come from the perspective of what we don't want. And if we see any of those things, there's no point in engaging any further. We have things that we don't want that this person's showing us. So we don't need to go any further. We don't need to try to keep looking for the things we want. We're done. That's what I love about this perspective. It makes it so much easier to not engage people when we see clearly there are some things that they're saying or doing that we're observing that we don't want. The end. Over. pick up your marbles, go on to the next game. Okay? So I'm going to give you 5 qualities. And ladies, please let me know if you're resonating with some of the things that I'm saying. Gentlemen, if you are listening right now, don't be this. Okay? Work on yourself. Do the work. Do what you've got to do to avoid these qualities, exhibiting these qualities, because I'm telling you, it is a turn off. It is a huge turn off. And this is going to require some self-reflection on your part, gentlemen. You're going to have to take a cold, hard look in the mirror on this one. Or if you can stand it, have a female friend or a female relative give it to you straight. Okay? Give it to you straight. And boy, you're going to have to, shield yourself and shield your ego for the truth. But if you have a trusted female friend or a female relative, just ask them. And if you can handle it, they're going to tell you the truth. That if you exhibit any of these qualities, it's a turnoff. It's a no-go. It's a ugh. Okay? What I call the ugh. All right? Number 1. Insecurity. Being insecure. This is such a huge turnoff, especially to a feminine energy woman. There is nothing worse than an insecure man. And might I say, an insecure man is actually a very dangerous man. This is a man who will go to any lengths to push down or hold down or bring down his woman. He is insecure. He does not have it within him, the confidence within him, the high self-esteem within him to rise higher, to do better. He is insecure about thousands of things. It could be anything. It could be the amount of money he makes. It could be how he looks. It could be his height, his weight. I mean, oh gosh, his car, his home, where he lives, his education. I can go on and on. There are thousands of things that men out there can be insecure about. And let them meet a woman that in their mind they think is doing better than them, outshining them. Maybe she has more education than them. She lives in a better house or drives a better car. Or maybe she looks fantastic and he's a little insecure about, wow, is this, woman going to stay with me? I mean, she looks so great and men are always complimenting her or coming on to her. I mean, it could be 1,000 things. How much money she makes. There could be a lot of things. But that insecurity in him, it is dangerous. Because it looks like, again, low confidence, lacking confidence in himself. It looks like low self-esteem. It looks like passive-aggressive behavior, passive-aggressive comments, and that behavior. Ugh, and there's nothing more unattractive than passive-aggressive behavior and communication. That's a real turnoff. It looks like people-pleasing. It looks like I'm knocking myself out to make sure everybody's good, to make sure I'm likable, to make sure, that I'm a nice guy, I'm a likable guy, and I'm going to knock myself out, just to have that title that, I'm a good guy, I'm a nice guy. And so I'm going to do everything I can to please everybody, but while doing that, I'm really not pleasing anybody, or a lot of times they're not pleasing themselves. It doesn't help with the lacking confidence and the low self-esteem. It actually feeds it because they're so busy worrying about pleasing everyone else and trying to be this nice person in everybody's eyes. And, you just can't please everybody. You've got to stand on something. And insecurity can also look like caring or protective, right? So a man can come off as very caring or caretaking and protective, but really these are coverings for controlling behavior. These are a covering for, I want to be in control. And again, there is nothing more unattractive than a controlling man, a man who has to control and manage other people, especially the woman that he's with. An insecure man will project onto others. He will, out of his insecurity, he'll have thoughts or feelings about something because that's what he thinks or feels, and he'll project those thoughts or feelings onto others. And that may not even be what other people are thinking, right? So he will project onto others that people don't like him, or people don't have time for him, or people think this, or people think that. People believe he's like this, or people believe he's like that, when that's a projection. He might not even have any evidence of that. But out of his insecurity, he will project onto others. So be very mindful of that. An insecure man, he's a dangerous man. Okay? Number 2. Indecisive. How many of us know a man who is indecisive? He cannot make up his mind. He is wishy-washy. He is unsure all the time. He is never sure. He's never able to make a decision and stick with it. This type of man is a poor leader. He cannot lead. He cannot lead himself, much less his family, much less his woman. He's not sure where he's going. A lot of times an indecisive man has no real purpose for his life. He's purposeless. And again, it's hard to respect a man who has no purpose for his life and is not walking in that purpose and stepping into that purpose. He's approval seeking. He's constantly asking others what they think about the things in his life, what he has on, what he should do, what he should buy, where he should go. He can't make decisions on his own. And so he's constantly seeking the approval of others and asking others what they think. What do you think about this? Should I wear this? Should I buy this? Should I go here? Should I do this? He is indecisive by just his very nature. And it is a very unattractive quality. Number 3, inconsistency. A man who is inconsistent. And so we as women, especially the feminine energy woman, we crave security. We crave a man who knows where he's going, knows what he's doing, knows why he's doing it. We are ultimately attracted to that secure, stable man. That's very attractive to us. And a man who is inconsistent, we don't know what you're doing. We don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it. He won't commit to doing one thing. He may commit to doing something, but he won't follow through with the commitment. So one of my favorite quotes is from Dr. Pat Allen. She's one of my great mentors, and she says, the only way you know you love yourself or anyone else are the commitments you're willing to make and keep. And so she believes that, if you can't make and keep commitments, you don't love yourself. You don't love others. It's those commitments that we're willing to make and keep. That's so important. And inconsistent men struggle with this. They really struggle with being the same in an area of their life over and over and over. They regularly self-sabotage. They regularly self-betray. And self-betrayal looks like they will even say they're going to do something for themselves. They'll even say, I'm going to work out 5 days this week, or I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to really work on eating healthy and eating more salads, or eating less fried foods, or I'm going to work out 5 days a week. And then the week will go by and they have worked out once. Or they'll say they're going to start taking a course or a class to work on their skills. Yeah, I'm going to sign up for that class. The deadline is coming up in another week or two, and I'm going to sign up for that class. The deadline comes up. They have not signed up. And then what do you get? You get a lot of excuses. There's always excuses as to why they didn't follow through. There's always these excuses as to why they weren't able to keep their word to themselves, much less other people. So if you start seeing this behavior with you, that's an inconsistent man. That's a man who can't make or keep commitments. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to a man who regularly self-betrays, self-sabotages, because it's only a matter of time before that behavior gets put on you. Before this behavior of, oh, I'm going to do this and then not doing it, saying even things for himself. I'm going to, start a class. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start doing something. And then he doesn't. It's just a matter of time before that behavior becomes evident between you and he. He's going to start telling you he's going to do something. He's going to start telling you, yeah, that's a great idea. We should do that. We should go there. We should do this. And then he's not going to follow through. It's just a matter of time. So be very mindful of this. I see this a lot, and I just want ladies to pay attention to it. And if you're seeing this happening on the regular, that's an inconsistent man. So the inconsistent man is also moody, very overly sensitive, and not in the good way. He takes a lot of things personally. And that's because he knows he's not keeping his word to himself, much less other people. But that up and down roller coaster of moodiness, not to say we can't all be moody at times, but it is a roller coaster. You never know what you're going to get from day to day. That's the inconsistent man. Number 4, immature. Oh, this is the guy who is irresponsible. Right? Is not doing what he's supposed to be doing, not taking care of his basic responsibilities. This is the guy who's petty beyond, just why? Why are you so petty? This is the guy who engages in this tit for tat behavior. Okay, if you're going to do this, then I'm going to do this. If you're going to say this, then I'm going to say this. Just immature, cannot rise above, has to have the last word, has to have the last say, has to always be right, has to always be acknowledged. You're always wrong, therefore I'm always right. This immature guy, this immature man, he struggles to effectively communicate needs. And here's how he does it. Instead of making a need he has known to his woman or to others, he complains, he criticizes. That's how he, says, oh, you're not doing this and you're not doing that. And why won't you do this more? And why won't you do that? You never do this. You're always doing that. Instead of effectively communicating what he needs and coming at his woman from the I perspective, not the you. Which leads me to my next point. He shifts blame on others. He's blaming. And let me tell you that whenever a sentence starts with you, that's a person who is shifting blame. We've got to own how we feel or what we think about something. So we start our sentences with I. I feel, I want, I don't want, I need. And that requires us to own it. That requires us to be vulnerable and getting our needs met, effectively communicating. We have a need here. There's something here that I need that isn't happening, that a need that I have that isn't being met. But that also requires a level of maturity on a man's part. So an immature man shifts blame on others. He's constantly doing the you, and you're going to notice this, ladies, on your first and second date with a man, when you ask that, that magical question, oh, what was the last relationship you had, the last marriage you were in? Well, why did it end? If you hear her, she did, she's the reason, this is why, that if you hear a bunch of that, that's it right here. That shifting of blame. But if you hear, well, we grew apart, I was working a lot, I did this happened on my part, and then, this happened on her part, or, it was mutual, we mutually decided this or that. that's a man who's coming at you from a more mature stance. But if you hear a bunch of she did this, she did that to me, she was like this, she was like that, that's it right there. That's telling you something. This is a person who shifts blame on others. And it's only a matter of time before that gets turned on you, before he starts using those you statements. So be mindful of that. Okay. Number 5. And I kind of, this is a thing, but I kind of made this up too. Number 5 is a feminine energy man. Now that's my personal, favorite, because I don't want a feminine energy man. And while there's a woman out there who's very comfortable being in her masculine, and she has made that decision to stay in her masculine, she may be okay with this type of man. I'm not. As a feminine energy woman who is most comfortable in that state, I am completely and utterly turned off by a feminine energy man. And I mean, they're easy to spot, and there are lots of them out here today. Lots of them. So, feminine energy man, he expects to be chased. He expects to be called, to be texted, to be picked up for dates, to be wooed and courted. He expects you to pick up the check or even pay half of it. No, not interested. No, thank you. He wants to be taken care of. He wants to be taken care of financially and in other ways that, no, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I feel most comfortable in my feminine energy, and I wish to attract a masculine energy man. One who is a hunter by nature, one who desires things and goes out there and gets them. The feminine energy woman gets what she wants by knowing what she doesn't want. The masculine energy man gets what he wants by knowing what he wants and having the balls to go out there to get it. Period. He is willing to take risks to go out into the world and get what he wants. But he also knows what he wants. So that whole wanting to be taken care of, the chasing and the calling and the texting and the doing, it's a turnoff. It's something I am not interested in at all. And for a lot of the women that I deal with and coach and work with, they're not interested in that either. There are women out here that are doing this, but they're not enjoying it. So often when I get a new coaching client, it is someone that's doing this behavior, but they're not happy. They're not enjoying this type of relationship. They're not enjoying this type of man. And so we work on leaning them back into their feminine energy so that they can attract a masculine energy man. The feminine energy man cares more about himself and his needs than his woman or his family. He 110,000% it's all about him. It's not about providing or protecting. It's about getting his needs met at all costs. He desires to be cherished over respected by his woman. He wants his woman to continue to coddle him and caretake him and do things for him and give to him at every turn. He lets his feelings override his good judgment. He's deeply based in his feelings. And it's not to say that our feelings are bad or wrong, but he is leaning too far on the side of his feelings as opposed to his good judgment. The feminine energy man desires gratification over long-term satisfaction. He is more hedonistic, more pleasure-driven, right? So he wants free sex from women. He's a womanizer. He wants to get something for nothing. He wants to get an easy lay. Let's call it what it is. Without any commitment, without any exclusivity. Because he wants what he wants. That's what gratification is. It's that short-term, I got this short-term pleasure. Long-term, it is not satisfying. But in the short term, I got to enjoy myself. The feminine energy man also uses substances. He uses and abuses substances, alcohol, drugs, gambling, smoking, etc., to feel good. Because remember, he's all about this short-term gratification. He's all about feeling good all the time. He puts his pleasure above all else. And this type of man, again, this is a dangerous man to a feminine energy woman because it's all about him all the time. And so, again, for my ladies out there who want to be good, healthy, feminine energy women, I want you to think about these 5 qualities that I talked about and write them down. Write other qualities down that you do not want. That is your new list. That's how you're going to go out here and engage with the men in your life. And as soon as you see these qualities, you're going to turn on your heels and walk away. You're not going to engage men any further. Why? We're just not going to do that. These men are showing us who they are, and we're going to accept it. We're not going to try to, live on their potential or try to work with them to become better. No, we're going to give them that opportunity to do that. We're going to give them the opportunity to kind of figure out, wow, I'm having problems, continuing to attract women or to go out on more dates. What's happening? We want them to go through that process and figure out what is it about them that's turning women off. We're not going to do that work for them. We're going to give them a chance to do that. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I mean, these are 5 qualities that I talked about. I can go on. There's like tons more qualities that are completely a turnoff to most women. I could go on, guys. I could go on and on, but I wanted to just tailor it down to what I believe is the top 5. But yeah, I could go on and on. There's lots of other qualities that are just not appealing to women. So if you're a guy listening to this, take stock, really take stock. Ask a good female friend, do I suffer from any of these qualities? And be prepared to hear the truth if they're going to tell you the truth. But there is work that needs to be done by all of us, not just the men. I mean, there's some ladies out here that have some toxic qualities too. And maybe I can do a podcast about that. I can talk more about that. But I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. I hope you all enjoy it as much as I enjoy making it. And if you have a relationship or a dating question that you would like to have answered on the show, please feel free to send it to me at info@betterlovemovement.com. You can also reach me through my contact page on the website. Go to the website, check it out. There's some products and services there, www.betterlovemovement.com. I offer private coaching online. I'm working on a new women's coaching program, a group coaching program right now that will launch probably in November. And oh, please do me the greatest favor, rate and review the podcast. We have gotten some amazing reviews lately. I'm really excited about that, and some great ratings. So if you like what you hear, if you're enjoying it, please rate and review the podcast and give us 5 stars. Share this podcast with anybody that you think could benefit from it. You can also connect with me on Magnify, the Magnify app. It is a way for you to get coached by me live, one-on-one, real time. We can do a video chat. We can do a telephone call, but you pay for coaching by the minute. This is the most affordable way to be coached by me. And if you're brand new to Magnify, you get your first 5 minutes free. So check out Magnify, Magnifi. It's on iOS and Android. Check that out too. But I thank you so much for tuning in today. And remember, stay open to love.